Going to show you today a 2021 GMC Sierra AT4. This happens to be the CarbonPro version, and I was looking to put a tonneau cover on it, and as everybody says, they're hard to find anything but the factory stuff, but found with a little manipulation here can make the BAK Revolver X4 fit this truck perfectly. So in the next couple minutes I'll show you how to do that for yourself. It's really not that hard at all. There's a series of holes already kind of pre-drilled under the plastic bed rails here. I'm going to show you how to get to those, how to put a U-nut on there, and ultimately drill and clamp down these BAK Revolver bed rails. So give me one moment here and we'll go from there. So here I'm going to show you the two ways that most people can take an AT4 and or CarbonPro, sorry, and mount a BAK Revolver or even a back flip to the back of the truck. In fact, my last year I had the back flip. Chose to go with a roll-up this time, and I'm really happy with it. So a little foreshadowing there. You know, one option is a guy by the name of Matt Wright, runs a tool shop out of Ohio. Hopefully you guys can kind of see his info here. He makes a really great clamp that he machines. You can buy these, you know, to kind of go with it. And the adhesive side slides up behind the top rail, and ultimately you get a normal clamp style. So this works with the way the CarbonPros work here. So if you can kind of see up close here, I kind of have one of his clamps kind of fit in right here, and it simply just tucks up underneath and grabs all the way down. Now these bed clamps or bed rails are not really going anywhere. That's a pretty good way to go, you know, about it. Another great way that you can actually get this to work on a CarbonPro is to use a simple U-nut. So these are little sheet metal U-nuts that are used all over the vehicle. These and these little flange bolts, I'll put a link in the description below to Amazon where you can grab these. But all along the bed rail, or underneath the plastic cover, is some pre-drilled holes and slots. A little square slot to slide the U-nut into, and you need to just drill the hole. You can kind of see that well enough here in camera, right here. I'll put the rough location where each of these are in the description below as well. But essentially you want to take and locate those. Now I made a little bit of a drill jig here on my 3D printer, and ultimately you just slide it up in until it engages the pocket where the hole is actually found. Sorry, there's actually a J-nut in there, so this isn't going to work all that well. But like that, you'll get a little drill jig, and then you can just kind of zip your hole in. If it stays in the hole nicely, that's the hole to drill in. This back one, this one here, happens to have the square slot on this side. On all of the other holes going up, the square slots are to the back. And when this thing lands in the square slot, it actually wiggles a lot more, and subsequently you'll know that that's not the spot to drill if it starts moving all over the place like that. So what I found works really well is if you take the drill jig, it's made for 1/4-inch drill, so just take a little stubby 1/4-inch drill. If you want, take a punch and lightly mark the plastic of the bed rail with the punch, so that your drill actually centers nicely. Go ahead and basically drill that hole through slowly. If you nail it right, you won't hit the metal at all. And if you're off ever so little, it's not a big deal. It's going to be covered up anyways. And then I'd recommend either upsizing from this drill to like a 5/16, or I ultimately used a step drill to kind of burn that hole a little bit bigger. And what that'll do is give you a little bit more play so that you can move the back rail forward and backwards just a tiny bit. Also a little bit of tolerance all the way up, because you're dealing with, you know, 6 holes down the length of this thing, and then subsequently allow you to clamp it in. Then all you got to do after that is obviously drop your little flange bolts in. They take a 10mm gear wrench is the best way to get in here. So you're going to have to, you know, mark and drill these holes on the rail. It's not that hard. I just happen to use a little blue painter's tape and a marker, and marked every little spot where the hole was. I tried measuring, but each hole is in a slightly different spot, and it just makes it really difficult. So just transferring your marks by lining it up on the truck seems to work the best. But subsequently, just you know, lock that in with your bolts. I found you got to put all the bolts in all at the same time. It's really not that hard. They're not going to kind of pop out on you. And I worked it from back to front, because the main goal here is to take this front edge, and you want to compress this part up against the front rail of the box up there, and life is pretty good after that. This fits like a glove, and really happy with you know, how this this method of mounting it actually turned out. All right, so before you put the roll on top, the last little check to do is just make sure you have plenty of clearance between that edge and the box on both sides. And you'll actually see on mine, I actually kissed it ever so slightly the first time that I put it up, so I did have to kind of bend that edge up, but now it fits like a glove. And you pretty much have a rail all the way from front to back that will work. It's anchored firmly to the side of the truck, and really not going to have any issues with any security or anything like that. So if you're looking for, you know, something where you can't really take that top off without destroying the top end of the rail, that's the trick right there. 12 bucks on Amazon, and you're rocking and rolling. I'll put the tonneau cover back on, and you'll get a chance to see that. All right, last little trick for the tonneau cover. They do want the edge of this and the end of this to line up, this edge right here. What I found is you may have to twist that ever so little. The main goal here is to make sure all the teeth engage in the rails, but you also want at the back for this to evenly lock down. And that's where the adjustment is made. So you can see here, it's actually binding. So it's probably too far back in this case, and too far apart. So that means that those are just skewed ever so little and need to kind of bring that up. So realize you want this to fit perfectly back here. There's a seal here that'll engage the tailgate. I found on this truck in particular, it's lightly touching, not fully depressed, but when I power washed it the other day, it didn't really have any water kind of blast in there or anything like that. So it was a pretty good seal, even though it's not fitting really tight. Bring it out too tight and the tailgate does want to kind of crash into this top edge. So final little fit and finish adjustment there, and should be rocking and rolling here in just a second. All right, now I got the cover all tuned up. You'll see, you know, front edge here and here. Main idea is to just get it square so it lays down in the tracks. And as you lay that in, you'll be able to get it here to the back. You can click it down from one side to the other. That's kind of a clue that it actually is locking in pretty good. You know, if you do sit on this edge and it gets lower, it is going to kind of crash into the tailgate a little bit. So if you adjust it good, it should just pop right in, no issue. Nice seal all the way across, and all is good on that front. So one last little trick with this particular tonneau cover are the straps. Certainly with the CarbonPro, you can drill into this if you want, but they did include these convenient little screws right here. So I anchored one end down there, but I ultimately changed out my buckle ends. This is the factory end that they give you, and it works, it gets down in there. But I also went with a little bit of a magnetic catch release, these little fidlock type buckles, which are super nice and allow you to really crank that roll down nice and tight. And it's not going to go anywhere. It's not even going to crash into the glass, which is fantastic. So anyway, hope this helps all the CarbonPro owners out there. This is a piece of cake, actually. You know, total time to do the install the first time was about 3 hours, just because mostly measure 2-3 times, drill once, and couldn't be happier. It works out fantastic, great seal, and really happy with the overall setup. So look down in the descriptions below if you have any comments, feedback. Certainly put it in there, and be happy to get back to you. Enjoy.